Mr. Sika Bekcic was born in Kruševac, Serbia in 1941. His parents were Svetmir and Danica Bekcic. On December 16, 1973, Mr. Bekcic, his wife Olivera, and son, then 5 years old, immigrated to Canada. Mr. Bekcic was an engineer in Serbia. Mr. Bekcic, tell us about your education.
Well, I finished university mechanical engineering in Belgrade, 1968, and I specialized in bulk material handling, special systems in that field. So I worked over there in the Institute Kirilo Savic for a few years, 7, 8 years, I guess, and after that we came to Canada.
Why did you come to Canada?
Well, it's a rather complex question, I guess. Well, like many of us who came over here, I guess, believe that Canada is a country of opportunity, and that's what we came here, basically.
Did you have your parents, sisters, brothers at home when you left Yugoslavia?
I just have a sister in Yugoslavia, so she lives there, that's all. I don't have any other relatives.
Okay. Tell us your experience in Canada when you came.
Well, that was a very interesting one, I guess, especially in the beginning. It was extremely difficult since we didn't speak English. So we had to learn English in a hurry. Secondly, it was very difficult for me to get the proper job right away. I was lucky in a way that I got a job after a few weeks being in Canada, but it took me a few years to start working the things that I did in Yugoslavia at that time. So like everybody else, this is a long story. I don't think we should talk about that today because it takes a long time to tell all those things. But I'm telling you that we are very happy that we came to Canada, and we didn't have to wait for too long before we earned friendship, and by now we have a lot of good friends over here. So.
Where did you work first in Canada?
Over here?
Mm-hmm.
I started with a small company called E.M. Brady. They were located on Henning Drive. That's someplace very close to Chicharo Club, where Chicharo Club is today. So that was a very, very small company, and that job didn't last for long. After 3 months, that company was forced to close. So I lost the job.
So what did you do after that?
Well, after that I found a job with LaSalle Machine Tool Company, and that was very difficult for me because that specialty, well, what they are doing is a little bit different than what I specialized in Yugoslavia. So it took me a little bit longer to understand things, what they are doing, and after a while I kind of liked the field and I started learning that field. So today we are doing a lot of things related to that field.
When did you leave that job?
Well, we actually, I had at that time very interesting offer from a company called SNC, that's Sauvaire, Nenninger and Chenevet from Montreal. It's one of the largest consulting company in Canada. I believe at that time they had about 3,000 engineers. They had a lot of overseas jobs, and that job was kind of related to my a specialty back from Yugoslavia. I specialized back in Yugoslavia, as I said, bulk material handling systems, mainly cable cars and conveyors, long lines, to transport material from quarries to process plants. So for that reason, I decided that we relocate, we go to Montreal, and so we were very excited about that thing, but fortunately we had a lot of problems there. A year or so after that, not a lot of problems, but problems with French language. They introduced that bill 101 or whatever. They had so many different bills, I don't remember them anymore. But they start pressuring especially those who are not Canadians by birth. And we didn't like that at all, since, we didn't like the fact that someone is pressuring you. You have to do something what you are told to do. So we decided to look someplace else, and at that time there was Fred Radzic and Branko Vukelic from Arvid. They came to Montreal a few times and they saw me there. We saw each other, I guess, many times. I found a very interesting system to separate sugar cane, and I kind of suggested to them that it wouldn't be a bad idea for them to get involved into that. So after a year and a half talking about that, I guess, we decided to start a company over here in Windsor, and we named that company Bekcic Engineering. So that was jointly formed between Fred, Branko, and myself. The intention was to develop special equipment which will process sugarcane. It was very attractive at that time. The program was extremely interesting. The whole system was discovered by the fellow Ted Tilby, and he was an artist by trade, I guess. And we started developing the thing over here. Maybe 2.5 years later or so, we did tremendous amount of work on that thing, and I got in a little disagreement with Branko. I just didn't like to stay any longer there, so I decided to start a new company by myself. Actually, it didn't happen that I have to start a new company. Fred offered me to take over Bekcic Engineering, which was practically on paper, company on paper, never really did anything. So I took the name and I started 1968. That was in December.
How many employees were there at that time?
Well, that was a very interesting beginning. At that time I didn't have that much money. Some money were needed, but I decided to start on a small scale, very small scale. So I knew a fellow over here who was selling the furniture. I mean, our kind of furniture, the technical tables and stuff like that, the board and the rest. So I got a thing from him, and I rented the space, a little office over here in Jefferson. I started by myself, and my wife, who is a biologist, she decided to join me. So just two of us, we started the whole venture. So we had practically 2 tables, 2 chairs, 1 drafting board, and 2 huge planes. So that's how the whole venture started. So I was ready.
How many now? How many employees now?
We have presently 9 employees, I believe, over here in Bekcic Engineering. And also 3 years ago we started a machine tool company named Arbeck Tool and Machine, which is at a different location. Over there we have 15 people, I guess. So what we're doing over here, we design specialty machines here, Becker, and Arbeck builds those machines, or some other machines designed by somebody else. But the whole idea to open a new company, machine tool company, is to utilize the talent which we have over here. So altogether, to answer your question, we're 24, I guess.
How do you advertise?
Well, in this kind of business, you don't advertise much. I mean, not in the sense the way how many other businesses do. Basically, we're a very quiet operation. Equipment which we design is extremely expensive. We have machines that we design in this office. There were some of them over $3-4 million a piece. So in order to do that kind of work, you have to know people. And basically it goes, you know.
So how do you do the business with them, with whoever?
Well, we have been in business for many years. They know us, and we keep contact with our clients, and that's how the thing goes. You know, it's so different than other businesses. You know.
What does Arbeck stands for?
Oh, that's Artner Bekcic. That's I have a partner over there, Frank Artner. He used to have a tool and die company called K&A, and that company was closed in '82, I believe, 1982. And we decided to start business together. Yeah. These days he's retired. He's going to retire, I guess, very shortly.
Now, what's your involvement with Serbian community and Canadian community?
Well, it's a good question. Maybe I'm not as active as a lot of other Serbs are, and the reason why I'm not, because I'm so busy with the things, with what I'm doing. My job is extremely difficult. I guess everybody will say the same thing for his job, but the reason why I'm saying that is our job over here is rather creative. It's we're dealing with sometimes very difficult parts, and by designing specialty machines for them, you know, sometimes could be very, very tiring, and you know, it simply is not easy. This is one thing. The other thing is I'm a professional who does the work directly. I don't supervise people. I don't believe in managing people. I work with people. That's my approach. Secondly, by doing what we are doing over here, highly technical, I have to be involved in everything. So it takes a great time, a deal of my time. So in order to be successful in anything, really, you have to spend a lot of time. You have to dedicate time to it. So for that reason, I'm not that active with the Serbian community. I go over there every time when I possibly can. My wife is of course more active than myself. But being a good Serb, I guess I'm doing my part.
Tell us your hobbies or interests other than your work.
Well, if you do what I do, I don't think you have much time for hobbies. And you know, every time when we talk about hobbies, I kind of picture guys, you know, differently. Um, yes, I enjoy reading tremendously. I do that every time when I possibly could. And also, politics is my favorite thing. I like to know exactly what's going on and try to analyze the things. So, uh, those two fields, I would say, are special interests of mine. But to speak about hobby per se, I don't have the hobby in the sense how other people uh, see it probably.
Now tell us about your family, when and how you met your wife, and how many children you have. And
Well, we met each other a long time ago in Belgrade. I was a student. My wife was a student as well. She was taking biology at that time. She was first year in university. I was second year on mechanical engineering. So we started dating, and we were dating each other for 4 years, and we were engaged for a year or so. And after that, we got married. So, well, we were waiting until I finished university. So we got married, and I guess we decided to move. We went to my hometown. I'm from a little town. It's not little anymore. It's about maybe 60, 70,000 people right now. The name of my hometown is Kruševac. Kruševac used to be capital city of Serbia in the old times. And Tsar Lazar, I don't know, are you familiar with those things or not? He was over there, and he started the fight on Kosovo with Turks. They left Kruševac and whatever. So Kruševac is a very old and beautiful, beautiful city. So we lived over there for 4 years. After we got married, we have one child. He's taking mechanical engineering right now on Waterloo, and he's going to be done sometimes next year, well, in May next year. So.
thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.